Well, at least. This is actually just a
Yeah.
deep fake of me that Google's
Oh,
busy. Yeah. It's fun. I mean, AI, it's taking over the world. What can I say?
it's pretty convincing. I would
Thank you.
trust you. I would trust
I
AI
mean,
you.
I wouldn't. Look, he looks like a scallum.
Yeah, but less
Oh.
so than the real you.
Oh, hectic. Okay. Fair. Can't complain about that then. How you doing?
um, I'm good. I'm good, man. It's nice to see you. It's
Yeah,
like
you
old
too.
times, hey?
Yeah, it's been a while,
Yeah,
eh? Yes,
it's
just
been
a
a
little.
while. I feel like this is actually my ulterior motive is just to get to hang out with the homies again on the
I was gonna say
podcast.
you can actually just like come play games with us, or even just come and hang in Discord. You don't have to just set up like a whole YouTube and flip and post the videos. You can just come hang out in
my
Discord next time.
my pride will not.
What? Your pride will not? You're hectic.
My
Okay, fair
pride
enough.
needs to set up a whole YouTube channel so that I can hang out with the homies.
Fair. I mean, people have done less.
Yeah,
So I can't even blame you.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Oz, thank you for agreeing to chat to me. I know how challenging it is for you to chat to me.
Yeah, always. I hate it. It's my least favorite thing. Like shark cage diving, base jumping, and then finding time to talk to you. That's what can I
Yeah,
say?
yeah, I know, I know.
No, I'm kidding.
Um,
Thank you for having me, though. This is such a cool opportunity, actually.
yeah, I wanted to chat to you because we've had like such good chats just at random
Yes.
times and like random places out and stuff. We've had such good
Hmm.
chats, and a lot of the time they end up around our like mutual love and appreciation for art and literature
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
stuff. And I don't talk to a lot of people about those things, you know.
Yeah.
The conversation I generally have with people around art is like, oh, I can't draw a stick man to save my life.
Exactly. So to be fair, I'm like, I just saw somebody walk through that window, and dear Lord, did I just shit myself? Because I was like, there's a
Nice.
ghost behind you.
It's
Like,
Easter eggs. Oh,
no,
Easter
so
egg.
yeah, like my thing is like, I'm pretty sure I've said this before, like multiple times, is that I can't. Okay, so what I draw isn't necessarily appealing to everyone, and I think that's a very
Yes.
important statement to make. Like you said, what you may draw. I mean, you draw really well, and I know you're going to say
Thank
no,
you.
I don't. But
No,
yeah,
I
no,
said thank
I
you. What?
feel. Oh, gee, sorry, so humble. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so like, I think like you say, you have this conversation where a lot of people feel like they can't draw and they don't feel like they
Mm,
can do art well. And I know I experienced that with the mini painting, especially
mm-hmm.
because I never took art in high school. I never studied art theory at university or anything like that. And I thought, shit, how am I going to learn how to paint? And eventually, like, okay, painting minis is pretty easy because it's like paint by number. So you just like slap paint on,
Mm-hmm.
and you do have to do it like quite carefully. I mean, I will admit there's a bit of skill involved, but when you talk about art and drawing stickmen, there's people that'll pay for that. Like, this is the thing,
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
like I think a lot of people underestimate the impact of their art because
Mm-hmm.
if you've created it and you enjoy it, generally there's somebody else out there that's wanting to consume that or
Yeah.
view that art and can appreciate the effort that you've put into that art, especially.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm pretty sure I said this because I love to say this, but like, to you, there are enough people to consume what you create. There are enough people
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
world now, like
Yeah.
for people to enjoy whatever it
Mhm.
is, like no matter how terrible you think it is, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's it. Like, for me, I think the biggest example is tattoos. So, tattoos are
Mm-hmm.
super subjective. I mean, all art in general is what you find appealing is not going to appeal to somebody else, and vice versa. What they find appealing might not appeal to you. That's why we have such like a beautiful variety of art. Abstract
Mm-hmm.
art. I mean, some of this stuff, like this pop culture art over here behind me here, like
Mm-hmm.
this is like a weird rendition of Napoleon Dynamite, done by a South
Mm-hmm.
African artist, and this one as well of Nacho Libre. And I mean, even this, like the schematic drawing of an X-wing from Star Wars, that like all of those
Mm-hmm.
are all these different forms of art that you create. And this person went out on a whim and was like, you know what, if I like it, there's somebody else that's going to like it. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to put it out there and people will either consume it or they won't. And that's okay.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's either your target market or it's not, when it
Yeah.
comes to art, especially like even music, like all these different forms of art. I don't
Mm-hmm.
mean just visual art. I mean, art is in poetry, music, everything, whatever you put out is a form of creation or content and art, and there will be somebody to consume it, even if you don't think so.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
This is just testament to what I was saying, like how you and I kick off about art, because
Yeah.
I do need to introduce you first
Yeah,
before
there we go.
we get into it.
Yeah, you're gonna have to cut this and put it like later on. It's just gonna be this like weird intro, but yeah, this is
Yeah.
exactly it. It's a good example of how these conversations have just randomly just like
Yeah.
started and taken off.
I'm like, Oscar,
Yeah,
arts. And we're like,
stop.
yeah,
Yes,
check this
yes.
tattoo. Check this trash tattoo I got. Don't you love it?
Yeah, look, it's a stick man.
um exactly.
Oh
Don't
no.
underestimate Stickman.
Yeah,
Um
exactly.
But yeah, as I know you through the streaming scene, in the intro that I sent to you, I said part-time streamer,
Yes,
full-time real job person.
real
Um,
job person.
you
I
know,
like
like
that.
you don't know what your friends do at work. You just know they go and come
Yes.
back.
Well, this is the funny thing. Even if you visited them at work, you're still like, oh,
Yeah,
okay. I mean, that's
yeah,
cool.
cool. Yeah,
They
that's
work and
so.
that's
This is
about it.
your
Yeah,
workplace.
yeah. This
Cool.
is your work
I
friends, eh? Not your real
these are the
friends.
yeah. Um, and then art and literature lover. So your real
Oh,
person job. I wish I
yes.
could ask people this without like sounding dumb, but like,
But
what do you
no.
do?
So I love that question, as in like what do you do during the day? I think is
Yeah,
what how you had said it to me, and I love that because I was like, what do I do during the day actually? But yeah, so I mean, my
yeah.
job over the past couple of years has changed quite drastically. I mean, I studied to become a teacher. I taught English and
Mm-hmm.
literature, for a long time, for 3-4 years. And I thoroughly enjoyed that. So that's where sort of my love for all of these beautiful forms of art and literature and so on come from. But I am now very far left field of what I thought I would be doing. I am a quality systems manager for a chemical factory. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I genuinely, I never ever thought I was the very super organized person that enjoyed systems. I was always like, oh yeah, I'll just like go with the flow, like a very
Yeah,
bohemian sort of vibe. And then when I
yeah,
realized, I'm like, listen, these systems are in place for a flippin' reason, okay?
yeah.
And I'm that person now. So yeah. So what I do during the day is I just make sure people are following systems, health and safety, quality. A lot of I do a bit of HR on the side as well, and then because I
Mm-hmm.
studied psychology, I also sort of at our work with all our employees, I do a bit of like a lot of training and a lot of sort of like health and safety training, general health training, and then like just a bit of stress management, sort of
Mm-hmm.
like psychology stuff behind that. And, also like a bit of not counseling. I don't want to say counseling because I'm not a counselor, but,
Mm.
just, I don't know, helping, being a sounding board for people, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So a lot of
yeah.
that, which
Okay.
is, I mean, it's got its challenges, but it's fun for the most part, I must say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just sometimes check you there on socials with the bottles and like containers. And I'm
And
like,
my
okay,
hard
that's
hat, and
his
I'm
real
like,
person.
oh, oh, you see, look at this. What's this batch number here?
Yeah, this all these bottles.
Oh no, it
I'm like,
is, it is.
okay, that's what
Yeah.
his real person job
So that's
is.
what he
Yeah.
does. He points at bottles for a living. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What he's doing
Yeah.
in this
I'm
picture
actually
is what he does the whole
yeah.
day.
I'm actually a stock
Mm-hmm.
footage actor.
Points.
That's what I do for a living. I'm like, oh, they need stock footage for a chemical factory? Oh, bottles. Hard hat. Oh
Safety
no.
first.
Yeah, safety first. Yeah, exactly. Hearing
What
protection.
would they yeah, yeah. Good. What would they call your stock footage meme person?
Sure. I don't know. Optimistic safety guy. I guess.
Okay,
like they've got like
nice.
that optimistic old man who's like
Yeah.
in pain and he's smiling. Mine would be like
Yeah, what's
optimistic
his
safety
name?
guy, I guess. Harold. I think it's
Something
Harold.
Harold.
Harold sounds
It's
like
like
an old person name.
pain.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. It is. It's like Pain Harold or something.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Someone who's watching, let us know. I'm sure someone knows.
Yeah,
Um,
please.
yeah, it's funny, like you say, an old person name. I never like grasped the concepts of that. Like names come in and out of fashion.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah.
don't know a really old Chloe. Like, do you know a really old person called
No,
Chloe?
no.
No.
Other than you, no.
Yeah.
Um, no, I'm kidding. But
Damn
yeah,
it. Thought
but
I
it's also
escaped.
it's like even if you listen to so like let's say Ben for example, like I only
Mm-hmm.
know old people Ben, and then I know
Yeah.
baby Ben, but he's
Really
already an
small
old man.
bends.
Exactly, yeah. And then I've always wondered, like, do old people Ben get that name from when they're young, or just do they like have to earn it, like
No.
Medal of
Yeah.
Honor, like colors, sort of thing? And it's
Yeah,
like, no,
when they
they're born
turn
with
like
that name.
60. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's weird. Like, can you imagine like a baby called like Cheryl?
Yes. No, but that's it. Or even Alfred,
No.
a baby called Alfred.
Alfred.
No,
It
please,
just
come
seems
on.
really serious, right? It's like
It
Alfred.
does. Yeah, like that baby's going to
I
give you like a stern talking to.
I thought it
Oh,
would be really funny to get like if I get a pet at some point to call it like a really serious person's name, you
yeah,
know?
like Harold.
Like yeah, like Harold, but you
Yeah,
don't abbreviate it. Like you don't call the dog Harry,
Harry.
it's Harold. Harold.
Harold the ginger cat.
Or Reginald. Reginald.
Yes. Although that is, like, I must say, that is quite common for, what do you call it? Like, bulldogs? Yeah, like English
Oh yeah?
bulldogs. People love doing that. They're like, oh yeah, we're going to name this one Winston. And it's like the most
Winston.
classic name for fucking, for English bulldogs is Winston. Oh, no.
Winston. It just sounds so
Yeah.
proper.
Yeah.
Um, or like, or name it after like a piece of hardware, you know, like Glorious Model D.
This is going to be the flippin' DeWalt drill cordless 24 volt, you know?
Yeah, I
Oh,
want to do that. I'm gonna do it.
please.
Um, okay, so my first question was like quite existential. Who
Yeah.
are you?
Who am
Who
I?
are you?
Sure.
What I meant by that
That's, yeah.
is like is
Who?
like yeah, who are you? Who
Who
are you
is me?
really?
Yeah. And look, it's a tough thing. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, like I say, I mean, sure. Like I say, I did a lot of teaching. I studied teaching. I used to be a teacher. That's how I used to identify myself as a teacher and content
Mm,
creator. And I think that a lot of the content creation that I was doing at the time was because it was like a bit of pre-COVID and then mainly COVID. And the reason why is because we moved to online platforms, actually, funny enough.
mm,
And sort of instead of pretty much like how we're interacting now, we'd have online lessons. And one of the things I did is I'd always record poetry lessons and then put those on YouTube as extra resources. And I actually wanted to start a whole YouTube channel just for that, for like matric poetry for people, to use as resources. Because I always found, being a more younger teacher, I understand that kids love engaging with YouTube or videos online. And I learn very
mm,
well through videos and YouTube online. So I wanted to create that accessible space for them. And that's actually sort of how I got into the content creation thing. And then,
yeah.
like I say, who I am was that, I suppose, at some point. But yeah, I suppose now I identify more along the lines of somebody who's wishing they could do content creation more, actually.
Yeah.
But at this point, it's like focusing on work or real job and
Mm-hmm.
daytime job, and like and that because I've got quite a vested interest in that business. So yeah, I'd actually
Yeah.
consider myself more of QC and quality management, Oscar now. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
I must say, I've always had this love for literature and art and all of these
Yeah.
fun things because I just think, the passion, and I do consider myself quite passionate about a lot of things, and I think we all are, whether you get angry about it or happy or like
Mm-hmm.
super, like sort of just like, when people speak with verve and vigor, they they are passionate about these things. And I am still quite passionate about my art and literature, even if it's,
Yeah.
I must say, like, yeah, somewhere I'm not, I do also identify myself as not a very strong reader, but I love reading,
Yeah.
or consuming literature in different forms. But I don't consider myself a strong reader, which is, yeah, I know a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people are like, oh, English teacher, they should be reading a lot. And I'm like, oof, audiobooks, videos,
Really?
movies, things like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
different forms
Yeah.
of literature, I suppose. It's
Yeah.
just how you
Yeah.
consume it that makes the difference. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah. So, okay, what you do during the day, we know, point at
Yeah.
bottles.
Yeah.
Um.
Stock footage guy. Yeah.
What is it? Health and safety.
Yeah.
What?
I'm health and safety stock footage, optimistic health and safety guy. Like
Yeah. Yeah. That's the
hard
one.
hats.
um. Yeah, so I think the last time I saw you, you had just gotten a new tattoo. That
Ooh,
someone I went to school with, funnily enough,
yes.
did. She's made like a. I think she would be a cool person to interview. Actually,
Yeah,
she's made a really
absolutely.
good name for herself.
Yeah.
She's done so well. She was always such a good artist and just such
Yeah.
a smart person.
And even
Um,
makeup
mm,
artist as well. She really,
yeah,
really was incredible as a makeup artist as well.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Jade,
Mm,
Jade Alexandra, and I guess I'll put a picture of your tattoo up here
yeah.
because I'm not gonna ask you to do gymnastics
I
on
mean, we
this
can
one.
try, but it's not going to work very well. Okay, let's see. That's about as close as we're getting.
Yeah, there we go.
For the
There's a
brief
preview.
second, I'll send you the photos of it. It's a lot easier. Just, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, and that was beautiful. And I was quite surprised that it was Jade
Mm,
who did it, but she is, as I said, like she's done so well, and so many people know her now. So you just got that one. And
yeah.
what was the significance behind it?
Yeah, so I mean, when it comes to tattoos and stuff, I know like I used to be of the belief that a tattoo has to have significance, before you
Mm,
could get one. And I think that was just because my older brother got tattoos that were significant in meaning to him. And because I sort of like was like, well, if he can get a tattoo, I should get a tattoo that's also significant to me. Like it has to have meaning. And if you think about it, like tattoos, they should have meaning one
mm,
way or another. And by that, I don't mean that it has to mean sort of something like, I don't know how to say it. Like, it doesn't have to necessarily mean something like your grandfather's death day sort of thing. Not that I'm
yeah,
slating
yeah.
that, at all. I respect that. But I'm saying, like, it doesn't necessarily, in my opinion, have to have those meanings. So when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to a meaning, just because it moved you is good enough meaning for, and I don't mean like
Yeah.
moved physically, I mean moved emotionally. So when it comes to tattoos, I consider myself quite a tattoo. Jade actually called me this. She said, "You're an art collector," and I said, "Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's how I like to look at it." Because even if our house, like all these different forms of art here, and then we've got like a bunch of abstract stuff, and it's all these different forms of art. Because at some point in time, that thing had I had an emotional response to that. So I've got
Mm-hmm.
three tattoos. That one that you know of, that beautiful lady, and she was also like, she called it, oh, she wanted to title it something like quite vicious, like bloodbath or something like that. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, this is like hectic. And she said no, she means it in the literature sense. Actually, funny enough, this is also where the
Mm-hmm.
love came in for it, which we understand each other also, her and I, is that it was almost like an ode to Lady Macbeth, in terms of this, not necessarily this existential guilt, but she's got this like very witchy, occulty vibe to her, with like the moon on her forehead, and it almost looks like she's lying in like a pool, of
Mm-hmm.
blood. I guess you could assume it would be blood, but there's like stars in and around her, so it's almost like she's lying in this bath, but it's like a galaxy, and she's got like dripping off her hands and whatever. Really, really
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. And I saw that, and I'd been wanting to get a tattoo from Jade for years, literally. And I said to her, I was like, that's it, that's the one. Because I didn't want to take an idea to her and say, cool, this is what I want. Because I feel like, there's definitely a time and place for that. But I
Mm-hmm.
also feel that if you go to an artist and either you say to them, I'm looking for this,
Mm.
something like this in your style, that I think gives the artist so much creative freedom, and they get
Mm-hmm.
so passionate about those pieces that they put so much more effort into those pieces. Not saying that they wouldn't put effort into a piece that you ask them to create,
Mm-hmm.
that's got more significance to you or significant meaning to you. But I think for them as artists, or as artists, people want to create what makes them happy. Even
Yeah.
the content you want to create is the content that makes you happy. And I think this is something that sort of Bum has taught me over the years, always mentioned over the years, repetitively, is that if you don't like your own art or content that you are creating, somebody else will. But
Mm-hmm.
you can't make art to please other people,
Mm.
because at the end of the day, you have to live with that piece. So you have to look at that piece knowing you created that piece. And if you're not happy with it, then there'll always be something that bugs you about that piece. And,
Yeah.
whether it's a 5-second drawing or whether it's a 5-hour tattoo, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be something that bothers you about that piece. So even Jade, when she did this, she was like, oh, she's going to change the hair strands a little bit. And it was even down to that detail that she was like, cool, she's
Mm-hmm.
changing the hair strands a little bit. And how it turned out, I cannot be happier. She actually messaged me the other day and said that I have to come visit her again for another piece. So I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
definitely book in the next sort of couple of months, hopefully,
Yeah.
look at getting another piece from her. And I said to her, I was like, she has not ownership, but she has artistic right over my left leg. Like, she can go apeshit on it, because
Mm-hmm.
I just love what she creates. And that's why she said I'm an
Yeah.
art collector, because sort of 2 of the 3 tattoos I have are pieces that an artist has done. And I've said, cool, I want that piece, not I
Mm-hmm.
want them to create a piece in their style.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I mean, like I say, with all due respect, like, I asked a artist to create a piece for me, and he quite honestly said, this isn't his style. He's not going to be confident enough in it. He's not going to enjoy it. So
Mm-hmm.
you'll be able to see that in the tattoo. So I said, oof, I actually, at first I was like a bit hurt, because I really wanted a tattoo from this
Yeah.
guy. And
Yeah.
then I actually said, you know what? I understand that reasoning, because that's 100% like, that's their advertising. If you think about it,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what the world sees of their work. And if they do a botch job, then that's like, people are going to be like, oh, who did you get that tattoo from? And then they'll make sure they don't go to that tattoo
Yeah.
artist. Like, I've had it a couple of times where I've seen somebody's tattoo and I'm like, yo, you know what, I respect that it's a cool tattoo, but I wouldn't have made those sort of creative choices. I wouldn't have got something like that. But then again, that
Yeah.
tattoo isn't on me. It's not for
Yeah.
me. That's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, like I said, so Jade did a stellar job there, and she always does. Like, her work is
Yeah.
one of my absolute favorites. And I know
Yeah.
Fox also says that he really wants to
Mm-hmm.
get a piece from her. So yeah,
Yeah. That's why she's
it's
always like so booked up,
yeah.
and yeah, people
No,
love
she
her work.
is.
She's
No,
amazing.
she's absolutely incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, Jade, I always had so much respect for her in school. She was just such
Mm,
a like independent thinker, like so smart,
mm.
so talented. Yeah, I
Yeah,
actually wanted to get
100%.
something by her as well, but
Oh, you must.
it's a
You must.
yeah, when I come back to visit.
No, you have to. Or you just ask her to design it and keep it on, like, on the back burner for you. And then when you come, then you can just tell her,
Yeah,
cool, book out a day and
I'm
then go
ready.
there and just smash it out. She'll probably want to do
Yeah.
something crazy. Like we sat for, I think it was 5, or no, it was about 7 hours that I sat
Mhm.
for that tattoo, of which 2 hours was just blackout shading. And that's like just
Yeah.
like full black stacking. It was rough,
Yeah.
but it was worth it in the end. Yeah, I must say.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Um yeah, I want to know I want you to maybe send me a couple of your favorite pieces that I
oh
can put in
yeah,
here.
100%.
Yeah, and
Just
then
from Jade or in general, because I'll
I mean in
flood the
general.
inbox. Okay,
Yeah,
100%. I'll
please.
do that.
Yeah, then when I sent you these questions,
Mm.
our chat is like a little bit different because I specifically, as I said earlier, wanted to chat to you about like arts and poetry and literature because
Tailored questions.
Yeah.
So special.
Yeah, just because as I said, like I don't talk to a lot of people about these things, and you and I
Mm.
like just shoot the breeze about it for
Yeah.
like hours, and it's so
Well,
cool
that's
to see
it.
someone,
Oh,
so
that one
passionate about
conversation we
this
had was
stuff.
just like locked in
Yeah,
for 2-3 hours, and that was really amazing, actually, I must say.
yeah,
So, and
yeah.
it's effortless, and I think it's so nice because we're on the same wavelength, and I think we understand
Mm-hmm.
each other's opinions about art, and not necessarily types of art, but the sort of the nature of
Mm-hmm.
art and how
Yeah,
subjective it can be. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I quite like the idea of like I think we spoke about this as well, like really bad
Yes.
tattoos.
Oh yeah.
Like yeah, like what other people would see as being bad,
Yeah.
like badly
But
done. I
yeah,
don't know if
but
I would
that's it.
get one, but I kind of
No.
like there's something spicy about it
there's
that I
there's
like.
like, so it's almost like if you look at kids drawings, like I love getting
Yeah,
little pieces of art from my nieces.
yeah.
They'll come visit at work, and the two of them just fucking go balls to the wall on my whiteboard in my office, and they're like,
Mhm.
cool, this is, and they like just draw like stars and hearts and random crap, and I'll leave it up there because I'm like, this is they put time and effort, and to them,
Mhm.
to you it's like, oh, it's just a little drawing, but to them it's something special.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
even that, like, I've seen a lot of it where people get drawings that their kids have done as tattoos.
Mhm.
And again, like
Yeah.
we say, tattoos and relevance and meaning, I love that for them.
Mhm.
I absolutely adore that, because that for me is so cute. Like, to them have
Yeah.
with their child, and it's something
Yeah.
meaningful,
Mhm.
so, or whatever the
Yeah,
case
yeah.
is. And I love those because I love seeing those like janky drawn tattoos. And
Yeah.
then, like, the best is like Brittany and I will sit there and be like, do you think it was a kid's tattoo or was that an artist? Like, like, because there's people
Yeah.
that'll pay for that. 100%. There's people
Yeah.
that'll pay for that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But like you say, there's that certain level of like cringe that you're like, ooh, I'd get one of
Yeah,
those, but
like
I don't know if I actually would, like, if it came down to it.
I mean, if you think about it, like a child's drawing, like I don't know, 5-year-old's drawing is a
Yeah,
specific style. Like it's a
it is.
style of artwork.
It's
So
minimalist.
if you, yeah, it's like minimalist and a little shaky. I always thought like when because I shake like when
Yes.
I just generally like I shake a little bit,
Yeah.
and when I was like deep into art, like drawing and stuff a lot, I was like people would actually ask me like how do you draw when you shake, and i
Yeah.
was i would be like, when I'm older and I'm drawing traditionally, it's
Yes.
going to be my style, like
Yeah.
the shaky line work is
Yeah.
just going to turn into my style. I'm not going to like
Yeah.
let it stop me from drawing, it's just going to evolve into a style
But
because
that's
of who I am, and
exactly,
like
yeah, but that's exactly it.
yeah.
Like, all of these different styles, even if you look at, like, if you think about it, like, we went to Paris, and we went to the Louvre, and even all the
Mhm.
different types of art in there. You look at like the abstract art, like the Jackson Pollocks, and all of these, even the performance art and live art and sculptures and
Mhm.
stuff like that. And a lot of them are beautiful in their own right. Abstract art, I enjoy some, as you can see down here. This one over here.
Mhm.
That's like let's face the other way, but that's just like, blotches of different colors of paint, and it does it
Mhm.
it it represents something, an emotion, something that somebody was going through, or an experience, or whatever. But like, I cannot, the Mona Lisa, for example. And I'll
Mhm.
say this: I'm quite vocal about this. I actually think it is just bang average.
Yeah.
Like, for me, like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, this is incredible, but I don't know, I just think it's bang average. I don't see the appeal in it. I'd rather, like you say, look at a 5-year-old's drawing, because there's so much
Mhm.
more emotion in that, and they've tried.
Mhm.
That's the biggest thing. And I think it's maybe because I love an underdog story, so it's maybe the underrated nature of these things, where I'm like, and that kid's trying, and then I'm like, Leonardo da Vinci was a grown ass man. He was a grown ass man, you know,
He was a
and
top dog. He doesn't deserve
yeah,
it.
yeah, he doesn't deserve the rights. Yeah, I love an underdog. Yeah, Exactly. I don't know. Maybe it's something weird like that. Maybe I just love an underdog story of 5-year-olds trying to draw the Mona Lisa. That would be great. I think we should do that as
It
an
would be
experiment.
great.
Just get the 5-year-olds
Yeah.
to copy the Mona Lisa and see what happens.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's because it's one of those things like I don't know how to explain this to people, but
Mm.
I don't really like I do enjoy fantasy film, but not as much as I
Yes.
like real life sort of stuff
Yeah.
where there are laws that need to be abided by the director
Yeah.
and the creators of the film,
Yeah.
because I think it's a lot more challenging, and like finding beauty in the mundane to
Yes. Yeah.
me is a lot more interesting than like, okay, make a movie, everyone can fly
Mm.
and do whatever they
Yeah.
want, there are no rules, go
Yeah.
wild,
No.
you know.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a very romantic outlook on literature and film, if you think of it.
Mm-hmm.
They, like you say, the laws of nature are very specific in how we have to act in these movies. And if you look at
Mm-hmm.
something like, let's say, Avengers, for example, you're like, okay, this is real, but at the same time, is there a flying dinosaur? Like in the sky, just like coming through a
Yeah,
portal, like, and then
yeah,
you're like, oh, okay, this is a bit ridiculous. Like, it does also get, like, I understand the appeal of fantasy. I really do. I
yeah,
get
yeah,
into
for
fantasy
sure.
in terms of role play and escapism and stuff like that when you're doing like Dungeons and Dragons. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like you say, you prefer the beauty in the mundane. So the idea of being able to still take normal life and make it surreal and beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
and find the
Yeah.
beauty in that. So it's almost like you want to believe that the world can be like this, that there
Mm-hmm.
is this optimistic realization that the world can be beautiful as long as you're willing to make it beautiful, or as long as you're willing to
Yeah.
find the beauty in it. So I love
Yeah.
that. It's awesome. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I couldn't explain it for a long time. I was like, why don't I
Mm,
like why does fantasy not appeal to me as much as like, something being created within the
mm,
confines of reality, like with
mm.
these very restricted rules.
Yeah.
And then I finally realized it's because there are limited laws that you can work with. And if
Yeah.
you can make that interesting, that's like a, more worthy challenge, maybe.
Yeah, it is. I think that's it. Like you said, the amount of effort that gets put in, you appreciate the
Mm,
effort more as well, because they've had to sort of think outside the box while being confined by certain restrictions. So yeah,
yeah, exactly.
I've never actually looked at it like that, but I understand
Yeah,
exactly what you're
yeah.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So I asked you also to prepare
Yes.
or read me recite
Yes.
a poem by, or your favorite poem by another
Yes.
another author, because you are also a writer. So
Well,
I yeah, yeah.
This is like that stickman theory all over again, where it's like, well, I've put words on a page. Are they going to be enjoyed or not? And I was actually this made me, so thank you for this firstly, because this made me go back into poetry that I did during
Mhm.
lockdown, on stream. So I had the segment sort of on stream called Rambles in Shambles. This is
Mhm.
a TM trademark name. Don't fucking steal it now, anybody. Okay. That was also going to be the name of the YouTube channel, Rambles in Shambles.
Yeah.
And what I did is I'd take the first two viewers in chat, and they would be the first people to give me two topics, so one topic each, basically, and then I'd try
Mhm.
find a common ground about these topics. And it was wild. It was like from like Labradors that could do magic to space pirates
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
and yeah, it was actually really interesting going back to that again. So thank you, to look at that again and say,
Mhm.
sure, did I write this? Like, I don't remember some of these things, but it was really good. So yeah, but yeah, I'll
Mhm.
recite you one of my favorite poems. So it was a tough choice between two. So the one that I love the most, sort of as a classic poem, is "If" by Rudyard Kipling, and
Mhm.
the other one that I love is it's one called "Bro." And I actually think there's a clip on my channel from, I think you clipped it, because it was just like, It's about like modern masculinity and
Mm-hmm.
sort of this how do I call it, like the sort of critique on modern masculinity. Amazing poem. I'll give you the link to that anyway, but I'm going to read
Mm-hmm.
this If by Rudyard Kipling. Okay, so it starts with Brother Square Toes, Rewards and Fairies. If you can keep your head well when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make an allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, if you can be lied or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear and to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things that you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it all in one turn of a pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn along after they're gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says them hold on. If you can talk with crowds and and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds of worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that I really I love that poem for so many different reasons, and one of them is this idea of that you'll you'll never be able to achieve all of these things all at once.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a tough ideal or a tough idea to try and be able to keep your virtue while dealing with certain people and be able to look at certain people with the same respect. And it's just talking about how these are all the things that we have to try and do, that you have to not necessarily fit into a box, but you just have to try to do all of these good things, and only then will you be a man, sort of thing. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't think he means man specifically as in like
Mm.
a man. I just think he means a great person. So like people will
Mm-hmm.
have respect for you. I think, for the time that he was writing this, I think that's a very
Yeah.
a big distinction to make.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I absolutely love it because it talks about, like, as if you do all of these good things, and as long as you stay true to yourself and you stay true on this path, that you treat everybody with respect, it's just like just be a decent person. Only then will you
Mm.
actually be a great person, sort of thing. So
Just be
yeah, I
lekker.
really love that. Yeah, exactly. Don't be cuck, be lekker.
Just be
That's
lekker.
that's literally what that whole poem's about. You
Yeah.
know.
You could have just said that.
Yeah, sorry. I should have actually not read that whole thing.
So
Yeah,
good. It's so good, man.
yeah, and
It
like I
it kind
said,
of
that
mm,
sorry, no, sorry, and like I said, that other one is called I love you, man, or I love you, bro. I'll double check that one, but yeah,
yeah. Can you? I'm actually interested to hear it. Mhm.
um, okay,
Okay.
oh,
Okay. So my poem is it's quite a
yes,
different genre.
okay,
And it's quite a bit older, I think. But we actually did this in school as well. And
okay,
I'm like fascinated by war just because of how like unnecessary, I want to say like unnecessary without undermining anyone who's been through
yes,
it, you know? Um,
yeah,
just like the turbulence of war. I love war films, and I think it's just so hectic what people
yeah,
go through and stuff. So
oh yeah,
um I don't know if you know this one by William Butler Yeats, but it was in memory of his close friend Major Robert Gregory. An
is
Irish
it an
airman foresees
Irish?
his death. Yeah. So we did it in school, and I remember no one liking it, and I was just like, "Oh
Yeah,
my gosh, I think it's so beautiful." Like,
it is. It's a beautiful poem. Yeah,
I know that I shall meet my fate somewhere among the clouds above. Those that I fight, I do not hate. Those that I guard, I do not love. My country is Kiltartan cross. My countrymen Kiltartan's poor. No likely end could bring them loss or leave them happier than before. Um, nor law nor duty bade me fight, nor public men, nor cheering crowds. A lonely impulse of delight drove to this tumult in the clouds. I balanced all, brought all to mind. The years to come seemed waste of breath, a waste of breath the years behind, in balance with this life, this death. And I love that line, in
Yeah.
balance with this life, this death. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's
that's one
absolutely
of my
beautiful.
favorites. Yeah. Um yeah, and I think about that line a lot, like in balance with this life, this death.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know why.
No, it is. It's an incredible poem, and that's the thing. Like you
Mm,
say, he wrote that in honor of one of his close friends. And I mean,
mm,
Yeats being also he was like I think late romantic, quite modern actually. Um,
mm,
and he sort of, I mean, they focused more on nature and stuff like that. So you'll see he also delves into a lot of nature and the emotion of nature, and
mm,
how that makes one feel, and
mm,
also like that type of writing, like you say, was quite brave
mm,
for that time, especially to
yeah,
speak out against the war, which people thought they were, and I mean they were fighting a war for the, dare I say, the right reasons, but they were fighting
yeah,
against a common evil, and
yeah,
especially during that time, because that was World War I, I think, if I'm not mistaken, not
yeah,
World War II.
yeah,
um and it's yeah, it's such a, like you say, you have respect for the people that were part of those wars, but at the same time it almost that senseless killing, it's yeah,
yeah.
it drives people to something else. It really, really does.
Yeah, because I feel like, the people who call war are not the people anymore who are involved in war.
No,
It
no.
used to be so that like kings and that would be at the, on the
Yeah,
front
at the
line kind of thing.
forefront.
But
Yeah.
now it's
Mm,
like guys in a box in a suit,
yeah.
calling for people to be killed, and it's just like so
But that's
hectic.
exactly it. Like you say, they aren't on the front lines. They sort of
Mm,
hidden at the
yeah.
best. At best that you can say that they're hidden. And it's
Mm-hmm.
it's very sad. It is. It's very, very sad that that's what
Yeah.
it's. Well, very sad that that's what it's come to. Very sad that these things still happen. That this
Yeah. Yeah.
senseless killing actually still happens.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Any
Okay.
luck there?
Yes, I did find it. So his name's Matthew Foley.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to find it now. So yeah, so his name's Matthew Foley, and the poem's called "I Love You, Bro," and it's
Mm-hmm.
all about sort of masculinity. It's a slam poem, so it's taught, or not taught. Sorry, it's done as a spoken word piece actually. But it's like he's removed every trace of it from the internet, which is the strangest thing.
Oh my
I
gosh.
think what I did when I found this, I sort of, I think if I'm not mistaken, I actually sent him a DM and I was like, listen, I want to use this poem for teaching. And
Mm-hmm.
I actually took the, what do you call it? The captions from YouTube and copied that down as a poem because I loved it so much, and sort of put it down,
Mm-hmm.
and then sort of transcribed it according to what I had heard, and so on. So
Yeah.
it was a lot of work for the poem actually, and I'm so sad now that I can't find it. I've got the video, but basically he talks about this idea of modern masculinity, and this idea that men struggle to share their emotions because of the fear that they have of being judged. And I mean, you know what, we've heard this story so many times, and it's a common story, or not common story, it's a common discussion and common conversation that we have nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
But like 2019, 2020, that was still quite a not contentious issue. I don't want to say contentious issue, but it was very, I don't know, it wasn't as popular and as a topic as what it is
Mm-hmm.
now. And I feel like men weren't, they didn't feel comfortable to actually come forward and talk about these things. And then he also says, the one key line in this whole poem, he says, love, how flat that word falls off our tongues when it's not in the service of getting us laid. And that's like that whole line. I mean, I was teaching this to like 17-year-olds. So like, we're not going to act like they weren't doing shit, you know? And it was just the way that he had taken this idea of love being a word that services all these different, like specifically a word, not necessarily just love, but or love
Mm-hmm.
specifically as a word, servicing all these different interpretations and purposes, and that we use it for a specific purpose, and how flat it falls when we fall, or when how flat it falls when you use it for the purpose of saying that I love you to a masculine friend. Because he then
Mm-hmm.
even then goes on about how he says, um, I love you, bro. And then there's this thing of like hashtag no homo, because that was a big thing, you know, back then, where
Yeah.
guys were just starting to say, I love you. And it was funny because it was all, well, funny. It
Mm.
was all these like jocks that were like, dude, I love you. And it's like, no homo, you know, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like the fact that you had to put that at the end of a sentence
Yeah.
is, it sort of, he captured the idea that we had, that if two guys say I love you to one another, it's immediately considered homosexual.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
like sort of this, the idea then again also of homosexuality still being negative. And
Yeah.
it's all these different like things that he'd go into. And I
Mm-hmm.
like I say, like you can see, I got very lyrical about this with the kids, and they were just like, okay, I guess, you know, it's like a lot of them, a
I
lot of
guess.
them did get it. Yeah, yeah. Some of them did get it, but a lot of them, it just fell flat. You know, it really did
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
fall flat for it, unfortunately.
I think to be fair to your students, I think
Mm,
they are maybe less guilty of being part of that.
yeah,
The
yeah,
fear of like exposing emotions.
yeah.
I'm not gonna say that they're like cured of what we sort of went through with
No,
that
no,
whole thing, but
yeah.
I
I
think they
definitely
are
wouldn't say they.
starting to, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I definitely agree with that. I definitely think they aren't. I don't want to say cured. I want to say free more from the
Mm,
idea
mm,
of being outcast and ostracized for showing love to, you know, a brother, like, you know, being able to
mm-hmm,
say to somebody that they consider their brother, a friend that they consider family,
mm-hmm,
that they love them, you know. um, and they do, I think, experience less prejudice to an extent.
mm-hmm.
But I still like, I see a lot of sort of what goes on online, and I still think, yo, the amount of conservative thoughts is
Yeah,
still crazy, you know, like the conservative mindset is still crazy, in the sense that two dudes can't just say I love you. Like I say I love you to my
yeah,
brothers, both of my brothers and my friends,
mm-hmm,
my close friends, all the time. And I don't
mm-hmm.
have to say, you know, no homo as a joke,
Yeah,
because we
yeah,
understand that it transcends those things, you know.
yeah,
But that's,
yeah,
like, we've come to that point where we don't care, you know. And
yeah,
I think it's a beautiful thing that, you know, as soon as you don't care about what other people think, as long as your actions aren't hurting other people, then
mm,
you sort of
mm,
gain this freedom. You really do. And I think, like you say, a lot of youths are experiencing that, where they're gaining this freedom to say I love you to a friend without feeling ostracized. Yeah.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we also speak about the state of things, like how it's more acceptable and stuff, but we are still
Yeah.
referring to only certain cultures, only certain
Yes.
sort of, like groups of people where
Yeah.
we're not all on the same wavelength when it comes to acceptance of like
No, definitely not.
human emotions being applied to,
Mm.
men as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. No, 100%. And it is,
Yeah.
it's like you say, you can only sort of talk about those things based on your frame of reference and your
Mm,
culture that you're dealing with, you know.
yeah.
But I do think I think there's this gradual change. There's a slow change happening in mindsets as generations sort of
Mm-hmm.
like start becoming younger. I think there's a, I don't want to say an equaling out, or I
Mm-hmm.
suppose sort of a leveling out of these old mindsets and the new mindsets, sort of coming to this common, not common ground, but like sort of common value. Firstly, in terms
Yeah.
of numbers, but also there's this drive for a common understanding and
Yeah. Yeah.
viewpoint, and
Yeah.
I've also always maintained this idea of hearing somebody out and then explaining your side. And you know, you can agree to disagree to a certain
Mm-hmm.
degree, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I always feel like generations act out of rebellion to the previous
Mm,
generation. So we see
mm,
what problems come from the generation before us,
yeah.
and we act out of rebellion against that. And
100%. Yeah.
with our generation, younger kids are like seeing what issues we brought about with our actions, and they're rebelling
Mm.
against that. And that's how
No. Yeah.
things sort of evolve, right?
Yeah. No.
Um,
100%.
yeah, yeah. So it's quite interesting. Um,
Something different.
so yeah, yeah. Um, so you write, and you write to Brit, which is so romantic.
Listen, not
So
often as
I
what I
was,
should. She'll tell you for free. She's gonna comment on this video now, or when it goes up, and she'll be like, "This mother hasn't written to me in ages," and it's true. I haven't, and it's sad because you know what? That's the nice thing about this is that I look back at the this all of this writing that I did, and
mm-hmm,
I think to myself, you know what, where has that drive and ambition for that writing
mm,
gone? You know, and I
mm,
know we've spoken about this. You know, that night that we actually referred to earlier, where you said you were like, you know, just promise that you'll start writing again. And you know, I'm sorry to let you down, but I haven't. But it's just been like, you know, like, where, not necessarily where do I find the time, but the inspiration just, it's not that I don't
mm,
love Brits any less, you know. It's
yeah,
just that I sort of, I don't want to say that it's my heart said what it needs to said, you know. That's so dramatic actually. But yeah, so I mean, I've written a couple of poems for Brits, to Brit,
mm-hmm,
if you would like, I suppose. Some of them, I mean, they're all, like you say, very romantic, very heartfelt.
mm-hmm,
Some people wouldn't sort of enjoy, I guess, because it is
mm-hmm,
very, like, a lot of people are very, I suppose again, it's subjective to, or objective to, what you enjoy, whether you find it appealing or not.
mm-hmm,
Or whether you decide that this is, it's just too verbose or whatever. But yeah, I do have a
yeah,
couple of those. Let me actually get them. See, because I used to post these online even. Like,
yeah,
there were a couple of beautiful websites called the Poetry, or sorry, Hello Poetry, and the Prose.
mm-hmm,
If you're looking for really beautiful poetry written by, everyday people, or written by up and coming authors. That's a beautiful thing, is that
mm-hmm,
they share this platform, and it's just this crazy platform of all these different varying um skill levels, I guess, or writing experience levels, let's put it that way.
mm-hmm,
But yeah, so one of the first, I've written many, one of the first ones that I actually wrote for Brit, um I can't remember the exact date. That's in like a book that I've written the date next to it. But the first time I actually put it online, and I did it like a spoken word thing. There used to be a spoken word group or a poetry group, slam poetry group, I guess, in Melville. I think they are still
Mm-hmm.
going. I want to say they are still going. I haven't sort of touched base with them in ages, and they were really, really, really active. Like I'm talking, like they'd have like open mic night sessions once a week, if not twice a week,
Mm-hmm.
even. And then you could submit your name and then the poem, and then they'd sort of vet it just to make sure it's like not racist or anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
or that it's non-discriminatory or anything. And then, then they'd call you up and then you could have your little set. So there's videos of that online of me actually doing that. But yeah, I can read that one. That's actually quite a fun poem. Like this is one of the ones that
Mm-hmm.
I wrote that was actually just really, really fun. That I actually like at the end of the day, I was like, I had fun with this and I hope Brits appreciate it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it's not as romantic as some of the others, but it's close enough. It has meaning still.
Yeah.
It's titled My Anxious Angel. There's two types of people in this world, and some of them aren't as confident, proud, outgoing, steadfast, and brave. The list is endless as others. This is written for those who take the back seat for the most part, and don't always love the limelight. Don't worry, some of us understand you. She wakes up in the morning and rolls herself out of bed. She tries her hardest and clears her busy head. She gets to the mirror and sees her smile. Oh, what a pile of shit I have to still do today just to say that I'm done, is what she needs to tell herself every day. But sadly, she stops at part one. She examines herself, takes the makeup off the shelf, and puts on her face for the day. She thinks of all the people she needs to face and what exactly she needs to say. To be polite without precise, while being precise, to be, but without being un-PC. But these words evade her like steadiness in a seizure, so many face that daunt her. Past social encounters that haunt her, and it's only the beginning of the day. When I see her engage with the bewilderment of people, it's an interesting sight in itself. And then this is where it gets fun. As the female puts her best foot forward, she also uses her skeptical eye too. Her heart goes back in its shell, and it's not that she doesn't trust the human species. It's not that you aren't to be liked, but she needs to tell if your friendship is worth it for a second or if it's for life. I watch her and I notice how she holds the conversation like I want her to hold my heart, caring too. But it's lunchtime now, and that's for her. That's a relief to sit, not to eat, but just to have a self debrief. You're done with half the things that are in your way for the day, and it's all smooth sailing from here. Is what she needs to tell herself right now, but there's a slight change added to her schedule. It's panic, it's murder. Whatever shall she do? There's a soothing voice, and it's her chubby Adonis as I tell her what to do. I said, fucking whoa. Don't you worry. Don't you fret. Together we'll get through this. You're already halfway done with, and you've climbed small mountains, so give yourself the credit where it's due. But in her mind, it sounds otherwise. It sounds like there's still mountains ahead and only molehills achieved, and the energy levels are depleted. But baby, you're halfway there. So it's something to ponder how someone can wonder and stress and dwell and plea on social situations that you take for granted as something to face on the daily. So don't be impatient, but for once just stand in her shoes and find some other ways to wipe away and not give her the blues. Yeah. So
Oh.
yeah, like I say, so that's more like about Brit and her, like I mean, her social anxiety and just like
Mm.
it's not that she hates people. It's just that it does
Mm.
like I said, previous encounters. It's never the easiest thing because you always assume based on previous encounters that's how your encounters are
Yeah.
gonna go. And
Yeah.
some people do deal with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it's so nice to hear your sort of like understanding of,
Yes.
her
Thank
social
you.
anxiety. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's really, really beautiful.
Yeah, I think
Um,
that's where it comes in. Like you say, I think poetry, sort of, and literature in general, is
mm,
written out of an emotion. So whether it's hatred, whether it's love, whether it's fear, even. I mean, a lot of people
mhm,
write poetry out of fear of death, fear of losing a loved
mm,
one, fear of all of these things. I mean, like I've written. poetry about past sort of or family members that were close to me that have passed on. I've written poetry for my nieces, sort of thing, and about current family members and whatnot. So it's some sort of an emotion that gets brought out in you that you're trying to just convey to a page and a paper.
Yeah.
And it's, if in that moment it's more about the understanding of that person and how you try and understand that person, then that's what it is. It's just the moment, I guess.
Exactly.
That mythical moment.
Yeah.
Oh.
Love that. Actually, I didn't bring any of my poems. I don't have any of my poems on record.
No, man.
But I would have read you one. But
it's
next
okay,
time.
You can make one up quickly.
Okay, give me a topic.
Okay, the cat.
Okay, the cat and let's make it interesting.
The cat and the grey sky. Let's say the cat and the gloomy weather or grey sky.
Okay, let's try. I might cut this.
Yeah, bash it. You see,
the cat and the gloomy weather, right? Or the cat and the grey sky.
Yeah, either or.
Okay, let's gooi it. Okay, the cat sat on the mats.
I knew it. I was waiting. As soon as I said the cat, I knew that was coming. I knew that. Jeez.
You gotta say it.
Yeah, of course. How else? How else? Oh no.
I don't know if I should try or if I should just give.
No.
You're like,
or write it.
Chloe, just,
write it
sorry,
down.
No.
No, it's really
I'll write
okay.
it and then I'll film it afterwards. Like I'll write one and then I'll film it afterwards. Pretend you're still here.
Okay.
And then people will be like, "Whoa, she's so good at poetry."
No ways. It's okay,
so
I'll just keep quiet, and then I'll just sit like this for a while, and then
do some noddies. Yeah.
There we go. Okay. So you're just gonna put that in at the right time.
Yeah. Editing magic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Movie magic.
The last thing I wanted to do is I'm gonna mime a sentence to you.
Okay.
I want to see if you can pick up what I'm miming.
Okay. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I'll even turn my headphones off. Okay.
Okay. Just in case. I don't know what I'm going to mime though yet. Okay. I can't mime a line from a poem because they're all like, to glimpse a Naida's ready head. Like, what does that mean? What does that mean?
Did you say to glimpse an Naida's ready head?
Yeah. N-A-I-A-D-S.
No, but I mean, did you mime that?
No.
Because my volume's off. No, I'm just kidding. How great would that have been, though? Eh? Yes, like, that would have blown minds. No, I'm not that good. Okay.
Let's see.
I'm watching lip reading.
What am I saying? Okay.
Oh, the mouse went for a walk on the golf course.
Yes.
No ways. I suck at lip reading. This is great. This is
Maybe
great.
I'm
You
just
should become
really good at miming.
I was gonna say, I think you're really good at just enunciating, even in quiet, Okay.
I did not expect you to get it. Okay.
I mean,
okay, well done.
Guys, I promise this wasn't pre-planned. The example that Chloe sent me, I'll even tell you,
what
said
is it?
The elephant walked from the beach to the city. Okay.
Yeah.
So nothing remotely close to that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty good.
They both walked though.
I mean,
but anyway,
I still didn't see you say it though. That's the thing. Okay.
Let's see.
Then I have one for you. I was like, what's a fun sentence? Anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
So it might be I think it's a little bit more challenging than that one.
Okay.
No, I can't mute actually.
I'm ready.
I'm scared. I'm just like, and I just start talking instead of miming, Okay, let's see. Okay, so.
What?
Okay, I'll do it again.
Next to me is a goblet, and under the top.
No, definitely not. Sorry. I mean, it carries like the pacing of the sentence carries. No, but it's.
Yeah.
Do you want to try again?
Yeah. One more time.
Okay. One more time. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Flip and get the matchsticks. Okay.
Honestly, it sounded like outside.
Outside. Oh. Outside. No, not quite. Okay, no,
I have
it's
no idea.
I like to be an optimist. It pisses people off.
Okay. Oh,
It's
so
like I said,
close.
that was a challenging
So
one.
close.
You got the outside part, you know, in optimist, I guess.
No,
But it
in
was
I like.
that is a very challenging part, yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so much harder than I thought.
Right?
Yeah,
Okay,
that was hard. Okay, let's do another one because I want to do a harder one for you
please.
now.
Okay.
What if I do pilot officer born of the RAF VR was shot down and killed in 1941?
My
Would
word.
you pick that up?
Definitely not. Listen, I'm good, but not that good. Okay.
Okay. Okay,
Oh,
okay. I'm gonna
wait.
quote a war poem.
Okay. Quote the war poem.
But it's a short sentence. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
The guy made it hard on purpose. Okay. Okay, look again.
Yeah. Only the passing of the day. No.
Only the okay, only the monstrous anger of the guns.
Only the monstrous anger of the guns. I mean, that was deep. They're both of those very deep, actually. So well done to you.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a lot harder. That was a lot harder than the first one. I won't lie. Oh my word,
Okay.
Chloe! I found it.
Yes. Oh, did you find it?
I
Okay.
found that poem.
Yay.
Okay, I found that poem after months of searching. Actually, also William Butler Yeats. I
Oh.
now that you talk about William Butler Yeats, I used to use a lot of him
Mhm.
for teaching as well. And one
Mhm.
of the beautiful things that he wrote was "Things fall apart, the center cannot hold." That is
Mhm.
a really, really beautiful poem by him, or saying by him. Okay, so I'll read this one for you now. Yeah, like I
Okay.
say, Matthew Foley is the guy's name.
Mhm.
Absolutely brilliant author, American author. He, yeah, I emailed him or DM'd him about doing this poem, and yeah, he was like super on board with me using it as a teaching resource, which was really nice actually.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, so it starts. It's called "I Love You, Bro" by Matthew Foley. Bro, broski, broseph, broham, bruh, my brother, my man, my main man, my dude, my dog, my buddy, my homie G, my home slice, home skillet, that's my boy, my wingman, my pal, paisano, mi amigo. The vocabulary of modern male friendship uttered over handshakes and daps and pounds, bro fists and man hugs. Spoken sometimes awkward and off key when I go for the handshake and you go for the fist bump, and we end up in doing this strange little dance of men trying to love each other in a world of, whoa, hey, no homo, bro. Where any time when men show one another genuine feelings of gratitude and appreciation, we got a bromance going on. And suddenly I am James Franco and you are Seth Rogen in some Hollywood buddy flick where the final scene we look at each other and say, dude, I love you, bro. How that word love falls so clumsy from our tongues when not said in the service of getting us laid. Perhaps this is why many conversations between male friends really go deeper than the game, the job, the beer that we are drinking, because we feelings are defined as feminine. So many men construct masculine walls of muscle, lest anyone doubt their manhood. Walk into any bar in America and you will find men laughing, calling each other, hey, douchebag, hollering at some bitches, trying to impress the boys. I want to express to these men what moves inside me and in my head and my heart, this life that we share together, my brother. Even in our own homes, we carve out our manly territory, the garage, the tool shed, where no one else may enter. Our man caves are just fortresses of solitude that do not make us supermen, but just distant fathers, half-ass husbands, and superficial friends. I want to be the better brother than that. When the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he replied, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? I want us to be better brothers than that. I want to end this legacy of shallow, empty men for what is at least 2,000 years of history, but this long, sad story of dangerous emptiness of men. How so many of us filled the spaces inside with bloody fists, scorched earth, bullet-ridden conquest, and the taking of permission. And the taking without permission of so much that did not belong to us: land, bodies, and history. We hollow men in suits of armor or suits and ties, empty inside of the only two things that make life worth living: the ability to be loved, the ability to love and be loved in return. I want us to be better brothers than that. I want to love these men that I call my brothers, feed the soil where truth grows, grow the dreams of my brothers, so that when the Lord asks, I may proudly say, these are my brothers, and I will always, always be their keeper.
Power.
Yeah. No,
Love
it is.
that.
It's like I say, it's a really beautiful poem. I loved teaching that poem because it is, like you say, it's also got a lot to do with the war, and it's one of those beautiful things.
Yeah, love that. Love that. I'm glad you found it.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oz, thank you so much for chatting with me. Always a pleasure. I could go on for ages.
Same. Definitely. Well,
Yeah.
if you have that chat with Jade, let me know, because I'd like to sit in on that as well, because that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Well, not sit in,
absolutely,
but
yeah.
it would be really, really cool. Because
you can be here,
yes,
like in the background, walking past.
I'll be in the window, like ooh, the little ghost face. No, but I mean, I definitely, like you say, I think the most beautiful thing is that people just need to remember to create what they love. Somebody else will love it. And ultimately, at the end of the day, even if you're the only person that loves it, then you are happy with what you have created. That's the beautiful thing. Because at the end of the day,
set it free.
Yeah, you've set it free, whether it's an emotion, whether it's an idea, a stupid idea, or what you think is a stupid idea. I can guarantee you now, a lot of people have done shit based on a stupid idea, and it's turned out so fantastic for them because of the emotional release that they get from that.
Exactly.
So, just create.
Yeah.
Just create. That's it.
Yeah.
So thank you.
And tell your homies you love them.
Yes, exactly. And like without the no homo at the end. Just say I love you.
It's not necessary.
Without, you don't have to make excuses for loving your friends. Just say you love them. They're important to you, and just show that gratitude and appreciation, man.
Exactly.
So thank
love
you.
That. Thanks, Oz.